Israel just told its own citizens something no government ever wants to admit: not stay alert, not follow shelter procedures, not the careful, reassuring language that governments use when they want to sound in control while saying nothing. Israel's official emergency system sent a message to 7 million people that translates, in plain English, to this: our early warning network has been destroyed. We cannot guarantee we will detect incoming missiles in time to warn you. You need to figure out your own survival from here. That sentence, coming from the government of a country that spent decades and hundreds of billions of dollars building the most sophisticated missile defense architecture in the Middle East, is the single most significant admission of the entire conflict. Because here is what it means in military terms. For weeks, Iran has been executing a two-stage strategy that most analysts understood intellectually but nobody expected to see completed this fast. Stage 1, destroy the radar systems, the eyes of the defense network. Stage 2, drain the interceptor stockpiles, the fists. Once both are gone, missiles arrive without warning and land without resistance. Israel just confirmed publicly to its own population that both stages are complete. The early warning system that used to detect incoming missiles 15 to 25 minutes out, enough time to sound sirens, get civilians into shelters, scramble countermeasures, is now giving approximately 60 to 90 seconds of notice, in some cases, less. And those 90 seconds are not enough time to do anything meaningful except realize something is about to hit. That is not a defense system. That is a countdown clock. But the Israel announcement, as shocking as it is not even the biggest development breaking right now, because something happened today that crossed a line this conflict has been approaching but had not yet reached. Bahrain directly attacked Iran. Not America attacking from Bahraini soil, which has been happening for weeks. Not Israeli jets refueled by American tankers operating from Gulf airspace. Bahrain directly. Missiles and drones launched from Bahraini territory, flying into Iranian airspace, hitting Iranian targets. A Gulf Arab state just declared open war on Iran. Think about the magnitude of that for one moment. Bahrain is a tiny island nation of under 2 million people. It hosts the U.S. Fifth Fleet headquarters. It has been a quiet, careful American partner for decades, never openly combatant, always facilitating, always maintaining the thin layer of deniability that kept it technically outside the direct conflict. That layer just evaporated. Iran's response was immediate, overwhelming, and precise. Iran turned around and hit Bahrain with strikes that have left the country reeling, and simultaneously, in a single operational night, Iran hit Iraq, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the UAE, 5 countries. One night, coordinated strikes across the entire theater at the same moment Bahrain's attack was being processed and answered. This is not a country fighting defensively. This is a country that has been preparing for exactly this moment, the moment its enemies finally ran out of patience and went overt, and had the target packages ready, the weapons loaded, and the command structure in place to respond to everything simultaneously. Qatar is now under full emergency lockdown. Government alerts are hitting every mobile phone in the country. Stay indoors, move away from windows, shelter in place. The city that hosted the World Cup 2 years ago in front of the entire world. The gleaming towers, the luxury hotels, the financial hub of the Gulf, under emergency lockdown. Missiles in the sky, every resident receiving government texts telling them to get away from their windows. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Doha, Manama, Riyadh. Cities that represented the argument that the Middle East could build something magnificent, ordered, prosperous, genuinely safe, are simultaneously under attack on the same night. And into this burning, simultaneous multi-country crisis, Trump is sending a third aircraft carrier, a third one. 10 to 15,000 additional American soldiers, sailors, and pilots, moving toward a theater where the first carrier already retreated, where Iran has hypersonic missiles that no deployed American system can intercept, where the Strait of Hormuz is effectively Iranian firing range, where Iran has explicitly stated that anything entering these waters will be sunk. Trump is calling this leverage. Iran is calling it a target. History will decide which one is right. But the physics already have an opinion. Trump keeps saying Iran is about to surrender. He has said it 7 times in the last week. They are breaking. They are ready to deal. Iran will surrender. Each statement delivered with the confident certainty of a man reading from a script his advisors handed him. Each statement followed within hours by Iran launching another wave of strikes larger than the one before. The gap between what Trump is saying and what Iran is doing has become so wide, so consistently documented, and so impossible to bridge that it has stopped being a credibility problem and started being a strategic warning sign. When a leader repeatedly claims the enemy is surrendering while the enemy is visibly escalating, one of 2 things is happening. Either the leader genuinely does not know what is happening, in which case the intelligence apparatus has failed catastrophically, or the leader knows and is lying, in which case the American public is being managed rather than informed about a war being fought with their money and their soldiers' lives. Neither option is acceptable. Both are dangerous. Here's what Iran's actual behavior says about the surrender timeline. Iran just announced it will select a new supreme leader within 24 hours. This is the most significant internal signal Iran has sent since the conflict began, and it points in the exact opposite direction of surrender. Selecting a new supreme leader in the middle of active combat operations is an act of institutional continuity under pressure. It says, we are not collapsing, we are governing, we are building the command structure that will continue this fight beyond any single leader. If Iran were breaking, if the military pressure were actually achieving the internal collapse that American strategy requires, the last thing Iran's establishment would be doing is conducting a formal leadership succession process. Collapsing systems do not elect leaders. Functioning systems do. The selection also resolves the command coordination problem that has shaped the conflict's military dimensions. The 31 decentralized command centers that have been operating with standing orders, but without central authority, once a new supreme leader is installed and recognized, Iran will again have a unified chain of command, which means two things simultaneously. Iran becomes capable of diplomatic commitments it could not honor while decentralized, and Iran's military operations become more coordinated, more strategic, and potentially more devastating than the autonomous phase has been. The diplomatic window and the military escalation window are opening at exactly the same moment. Now consider Britain, because London just made a decision that is being buried under the daily volume of military developments but deserves serious attention. Britain is deploying bombers and an aircraft carrier toward the Middle East theater, a country with no heating gas for its population this winter. A country whose economy has been struggling with post-Brexit structural problems and post-pandemic debt burdens. A country whose citizens are watching energy bills consume household budgets in ways that are generating genuine domestic political pressure. That country is deploying an aircraft carrier toward a conflict where Iran has already demonstrated the ability to hit carriers, destroy billion-dollar defense systems, and strike Gulf infrastructure with hypersonic precision weapons. Iran's response to British deployment was not diplomatic concern, it was a military statement. Anyone who enters this conflict will be treated as a combatant and targeted accordingly. Britain is sailing an aircraft carrier toward a country that just told Israel's defense system it can no longer function, toward a theater where America's Patriot systems are half destroyed, toward an adversary with hypersonic missiles carrying demonstrated bypass capability against every system Britain has deployed in its carrier group. The strategic logic of this deployment, under these specific conditions, is genuinely difficult to identify. What is identifiable is the political logic. America is asking its allies to demonstrate commitment. Britain, needing American trade relationships in a post-Brexit world, is complying, and the soldiers and sailors on that carrier are the price of that political compliance. Meanwhile, the Strait of Hormuz has gone from one of the world's busiest shipping lanes to a near-empty water corridor. The before and after satellite imagery tells the story in a single image. Weeks ago, dense ship traffic in both directions, the commercial lifeblood of the global economy flowing normally. Today, near-empty water, the occasional vessel, no tankers, no cargo ships. Because Iran has stated unambiguously that anything entering Gulf waters is a potential target, and every shipping company, every captain, every insurance underwriter has done the math and reached the same conclusion. The economic consequences of an empty Strait of Hormuz are not theoretical anymore. They are in today's oil price. They are in today's shipping costs. They will be in next month's grocery bills. And they compound every week the strait stays closed. Japan, South Korea, Australia, countries with no direct stake in the political conflict, no military role in the war, no voice in the decisions that started it, are watching their energy economics deteriorate in real time because of decisions made in Washington and Tel Aviv. The world did not vote for this war. The world is paying for it anyway. Let us be honest about what America's actual objective in this conflict is. Because stopping Iran's nuclear program stopped being a credible explanation several escalations ago. Iran's nuclear facilities have not been the primary targets. The strikes have been hitting command infrastructure, military leadership, and economic capacity. Trump himself stated openly, in the same public appearance where he was demanding Nobel Peace Prize consideration, that he intends to install American-aligned leadership in Tehran and take control of Iranian oil and gas resources. That is not counterproliferation. That is not regional security. That is colonial resource acquisition with a military enforcement mechanism, and it is being pursued against a country of 90 million people with 31 active military command structures, hypersonic missile capability, and 45 years of specific preparation for exactly this scenario. The comparison to Venezuela was not accidental. Trump made it deliberately. It is the model. Remove the government, install a compliant replacement, secure access to the resources. The difference is Venezuela does not have hypersonic missiles. Iran does. So here's the question every government, every investor, and every ordinary citizen downstream of this conflict needs to ask clearly. What does victory look like? And what is the realistic path to achieving it? Regime change through military pressure requires Iran's population to rise up against its government. It is not rising up. It is not collapsing. The markets in Tehran are open. People are going about their days. The internal social disintegration that American strategy required is not happening and was never going to happen because Iranians have spent 45 years being told American power was coming for them and they prepared accordingly, not with mass capitulation, with mass resilience, degrading Iranian military capability to the point of impotence. Iran just launched hypersonic missiles after destroying half of America's regional Patriot systems. The trajectory of military capability in this conflict is not moving in America's favor. Iran's old weapons are exhausted. Its advanced weapons are now in play. Its new supreme leader will restore centralized command to 31 active military structures. The military situation for America is deteriorating on a timeline that America's industrial base cannot keep pace with. Economic strangulation. Iran has been sanctioned for 40 years. The Iranian economy functions under conditions that would collapse most nations, and right now, Iran is causing more economic damage to the global system through oil disruption, shipping closure, and Gulf investment withdrawal than 40 years of American sanctions caused to Iran. There is no military path to victory. There is no economic path to victory. And the diplomatic path, the one that was always available, the one Iran has offered publicly and repeatedly, requires acknowledging something that this administration has made politically impossible to acknowledge. American military presence in the Middle East is the problem, not the solution. That sentence is going to determine how history judges this chapter, because every analyst who has examined this conflict honestly, every intelligence professional who has briefed without political pressure, every military strategist who has gamed out the scenarios without needing a predetermined outcome, they all arrive at the same place. The strikes do not stop while American bases are operational on Gulf soil. Iran's position on this has been consistent, public, and strategically coherent from the first day. Remove the bases, end the strikes, keep the bases, continue the war. It is not complicated. It is a clear condition with a clear consequence. The Gulf states know it. They have been privately communicating it to Washington for weeks. The signals are everywhere. Investment withdrawal reviews, emergency diplomatic contacts, back-channel conversations about timelines for American base drawdown. The Gulf states are not going to publicly ask America to leave, while American forces are still the only thing standing between them and a hot war they cannot fight themselves. But they are building the conditions for that ask as fast as they safely can. And when it comes, when Saudi Arabia or Qatar or the UAE finally says out loud what everyone in the region is saying privately, the political cover for American presence collapses, because you cannot maintain 40 years of "we are here to protect you" when the countries you are supposedly protecting are telling you that your presence is what is getting them bombed. 3 American aircraft carriers are now in or moving toward the Gulf. 15,000 American soldiers on those ships alone, plus the tens of thousands already at bases across the region. Britain is deploying. Europe is watching. More targets, bigger stakes, higher consequences if it goes wrong. Qatar is under emergency lockdown tonight. Israel cannot warn its own citizens about incoming missiles. Bahrain has gone from quietly hosting American forces to openly attacking Iran. The Strait of Hormuz is empty. The hypersonic phase is active. The new supreme leader will be named within 24 hours, and Trump is on social media calling it a surrender. The missiles disagree. History is being made in real time, in the gap between what powerful people are saying and what the weapons are actually doing. That gap has never been wider in this conflict. The consequences have never been higher. Pay attention, because what gets decided in the next 2 weeks does not just determine what the Middle East looks like next year. It determines what the world looks like for the next 50. Share this with everyone you know right now. Israel has officially told 7 million citizens it can no longer guarantee missile warnings. The early warning network is destroyed, the interceptors are depleted, and the defense system that cost hundreds of billions of dollars is functionally offline. Bahrain directly attacked Iran tonight, a Gulf state crossing the line every Gulf state has been desperately avoiding. Iran responded by striking 5 countries simultaneously in a single night. Qatar is under emergency lockdown. A 3rd American carrier is moving toward a theater where the first one already retreated. Iran's new supreme leader will be named within 24 hours, restoring centralized command to 31 active military structures, and Trump is calling it a surrender while Iran escalates. The gap between those two realities is where this war is actually being decided.